Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
So we've talked about this many times, but I think we need to stress the importance of understanding that everything is right in front of us the whole time. It really is. It's all right in front of our faces the whole time. The problem is most people don't put two and two together. If they do, they come up with 87.
They do. I mean, we have this gigantic, what they call just a piece of art. And you got to wonder, well, who exactly is the artist? Where do they come from? And what were they thinking? I mean, this isn't just something you just sort of dream up. You know, it looks like something with gears inside of it, some sort of mechanism. And then why gift it to these very influential places where it's sitting on display for all to see?
Well, for those that have delved down into the alien rabbit hole in so many ways, you might be familiar with the concept of a Dyson sphere. This is in front of the UN building. This is in the Vatican. Again, this whole concept is harnessing the power of a sun to use in any way seen fit by a advanced civilization, more advanced than the one that they show us on Earth. That's the giveaway. Here you have Dyson Sphere Legacy. Freeman Dyson's wild alien megastructure idea will live forever. And it's worked its way into our culture. His famous alien hunting idea. He was a quantum physicist. He died at age 96 on February 28th. This is going back to 2020. He recalled in 2003 interview just how he first advanced his concept of a Dyson sphere, which could betray the existence of an advanced alien civilization. It was via a 1960 article in a journal Science called The Search for Artificial Stellar Sources of Infrared Radiation. He wrote the article just as scientists were beginning to search for signs of intelligent life using radio telescopes. The 1960 piece noted that the radio is a great medium for searching, but only if aliens are willing to communicate. If the aliens remain silent, he would need to look for heat waste from space using infrared sensors. Unfortunately, I added to the end of that remark that what we're looking for is an artificial biosphere, Dyson said in a 45-minute interview from 2003. He was imagining a swarm of objects that could masquerade as dust from a distance. He added, but his choice of words sparked an accidental legacy, they say. The science fiction writers then got a hold of it and imagined the biosphere meant a sphere, had something to do with a big round ball. And so out of that, there came these weird notions which ended up on Star Trek. And, so again, what we do realize is that anybody that gets too close to the truth, you might get a visit, a knock on the door from those men in black or other feds. You might have them just reach out and say hi to you. Believe me, it does happen. Far more often than you might think about it. And the reality is, too, there are so many things that have been suppressed. But this whole concept of different alien extraterrestrial societies and what type of abilities would they have has been expounded on. And we do also have other scales, the Kardashev scale, which will give you level of technology that these different stages of development societies would have as we move out into space. And what would that look like? How would things go? And the Kardashev scale is a method of measuring how advanced a society is. First thing, is basically being able to harness the power of the planet, control the weather of the planet, etc., and then moving out to control your star, harnessing the energy of the star, and then beyond that, being able to capture and control all the energy emitted by a galaxy And it goes on and on and on with the classifications of these civilizations. So these are some brilliant minds that are throwing things out there and just postulating. But the reality is, why again do we have these images? Are they just for laughs in front of the UN, in front of the Vatican, global governance and the religious, most powerful religious and richest religious authority on the planet? Into Thin Air has been doing some good work. He's on top of a lot. So Dutch Sense had posted something about this energy, this weird sunbeam that came off during the X-class flare. This is just brand new. Now he slowed it down. Into Thin Air slowed down this beam that's being emitted, or which way is it going is a big question. And so if you haven't subscribed to Into Thin Air, I would suggest you check it out. And I'm sure most of you guys are subscribed to Dutch. So this weird beam, it looks like it's coming out of the sun. Or is it going into the sun? Is there a beam that goes into the sun that's then triggering things? It's right here at this active region, 3664. So, here's Into Thin Air. He slowed it down and captured it still. Very, very interesting. And as he says, does remind me of all the radar beams that have been captured during the tornado outbreaks. He's done a really good job with capturing those too, as has Dutch in the past and so many others. The technology that's in play will boggle some minds, and some people just won't be able to handle it. And we understand that. There's an awful lot of people that cannot have their paradigm shifted without them maybe being locked away in a straitjacket somewhere.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, it's seriously, sometimes it's too much work for people to recognize something that is not true. After all of their lives, they were taught one thing, and it's just too much to fathom, and I don't judge people like that. I get it. I'm human. I've had emotions too that I wasn't able to face. I just wasn't ready, and Higher Self does a really good job of guarding that gate. So sometimes people, they just need to sit where they're at until ... But looking at these, I do not put it past the control structure for 1 second that they wouldn't do something like this or trigger something like this. Now, we look at the technology we have here on Earth, and I just don't think that it's like earthly technology. Something tells me it's a little bit beyond that. But when we're looking at the sun, let's say they do trigger something that is catastrophic. The Earth, if it is time for an upgrade, the upgrade is going to happen, and it might not look like something that's very nice, but we could be put in a position where we really have to struggle and find ourselves again. And with that, I always look to the silver lining. Humans would be talking with humans again. We'd be working face to face. We would be working side by side. We would be growing again. So we got to look at the kind of evolution that this might provide. I really hope that it's not going to be anything catastrophic, but I also believe and I trust Mother Nature. I think that she is going to do whatever she is supposed to do, and she has some tricks up her sleeve that we're not aware of. So I do look at these things, I take them very seriously. It's definitely very concerning, but I still fall back again on the same thing. It goes back to right now, take care of your temple. That's what you need to do. So everything else, I'm sure we have prepped up to our eyeballs, most of us. And we got that part done. Now it's time to work on the temple. And maybe it's not going to happen this time, but there will come a time when the sun does sneeze. It is going to affect us. So we just need to keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on the prize, keep taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. So this is certainly curious and very interesting. So I wanted to just go over how they do things. You have Russia mulling, lowering threshold for activating nuclear weapons. This has been telegraphed. This is an article from today from defensepost.com. Russia is considering lowering the threshold for activating its nuclear weapons. This move comes amid growing concerns that Putin may soon order the use of nukes in Ukraine or elsewhere, as they have thrown out, what can you say, warnings. They've just simply said, hey, we might just drown the UK. We could detonate something right off the coast and flood the entirety of the island. It is an island after all. They've telegraphed the use of tsunami bombs, and they've also, just basically come straight out and said, if we are threatened, we will use them. Now, even if they can't use them because more advanced beings are going to turn them off, and that's just because this can damage other densities and interfere in other people having other experiences in other dimensions, let's say, to kind of make it simple. But here they're talking about lowering the weapons to very, very, very low points. Nuclear strikes are permitted in defense against enemy attacks using conventional weapons. However, a number of documents seen by Financial Times has revealed an alarming scenario. Russia's nuclear threshold is lower than was previously made public. In the documents, the use of nuclear weapons is justified when units defending its border areas have been defeated and the enemy was able to land on Russian territory. The Russian military could also use nukes following the destruction of a maximum of 3 airfields, 3 cruisers, 2 coastal command centers, and 20% of the country's ballistic missile submarines. This is the first time that we've seen documents like this reported on the public domain. They show that the operational threshold for using nuclear weapons is actually very low. Now, why are they doing this? Because they're just telegraphing, because they're very close to actually doing something that's going to look nuclear. I do think the technology is more akin to the rods of God, which are basically, they're like telephone poles made out of very, very heavy, dense material that can be launched from space, gain a lot of velocity, and impact like a nuclear weapon with none of the radiation. They might even utilize other means to make it look like there is radiation, just to give that an impression that we've had a limited nuclear exchange, because this is going to enable them to say certain areas are totally off limits and you got to move. And you're going to have to leave these areas for your own health. And they're going to herd people out and herd them into different camps and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get the picture. Over here, we also have, this just shows you the bigger picture of things. A Russian defense contractor, Safran, has signed contracts to support helicopter engines for Chinese aerospace company GDAT. And GDAT's Beijing's largest industry partner for rotorcraft leasing and distribution. Why in the world would a French contractor help out the Chinese military? This happened with a visit from Xi Jinping that when he went and visited France. Because all the militaries of the world, even though they'll go ahead and kill the personnel that are part of the militaries of the world, they don't work for us. And the fights are just simply a way to control population and to control the scenario and to create loosh and food for these dark demonic entities. And when you listen to this guy, this is a speech from the 26th of November 2023. Newly diluted NAZI conspiracy just dropped. oh, really? Really? Listen to these words.
Digital tyranny and robot dogs. They want to enslave humanity. That's how they want to control the people in Palestine in the future. Robot dogs with tasers and guns and drones. That's what they do to the world.
So he's saying Israel wants to enslave humanity with robot dogs with lasers and guns and flamethrowers on them. So, this guy's working for Hebrew University. Sure, ultimately, the tentacles of the secret societies are everywhere, and they want to, disavow what's really planned next. Robo dogs with lasers, flamethrowers, guns mounted on them, controlled by AI. The U.S. Marines test robot dogs with AI-enabled rifles. This is from yesterday. Yeah, we've seen them. You could buy a robot dog for $10,000 that has a flamethrower attached to it. We kid you not. These things are being mass-produced. Australian Army is rolling out robo-dogs' ability to be controlled by soldiers' minds. And they're actually in testing already. Future forecasters, who I find fun, these are remote viewers. They did this one for 2026 and beyond. What's the future of London going to look like? Well, there's not a lot of people. It's dark. It feels like Gotham. It feels depressed. It feels like it's post-apocalyptic. This is 2026, April. And it's being guarded and policed by robot dogs. We kid you not. This is what you see is awful-looking mechanical robot attack drone, the size of a Great Dane. And it's like AI. It's a guard dog, an AI guard dog on steroids. So this is less than 2 years away in London, guarding London, policing London. And this is after something that makes it look like it's a post-apocalyptic world. And China showed us their army of robot dogs. Why do they all have robot dogs? Because there's one military. There's really only one military. War of the Worlds covered this. This was a fun series in case you didn't see it. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons long. And what do they have in it? Robot dogs, what's their purpose? Execute every human they see. And they do. Every single human. It's a post-apocalyptic world. And, this is what you see is these robot dogs that just will nonstop hunt you down. They won't stop until the person is terminated. Just thought I would share that with you guys.
And they have been seeding our consciousness somewhat here and there with it too. And the control system likes to roll things out as if they are supposed to help us, or, like all these forms of modalities of healing are supposedly being rolled out to help protect us from things that might even be worse. So what is it that they're going to send in that's going to make the robot dogs look like heroes?
Well, I'll share with you, when we were leaving Vegas and leaving Nevada for the last time, we saw 4 things like this, the size of pickup trucks. The size of pickup trucks, borderline tanks, being carried through Vegas. It's very real, and it is part of the future they plan to unravel before us.
Yeah, these dogs are really curious about it. He's sniffing his butt. Isn't that cute? I don't know what to think of. I think we might need one of these for Sita to get her socialized. I don't know.
Yeah, let's stick with the natural order. As always, guys, thanks for your support. Couldn't do without you guys. Source bless. Namaste.
Namaste.